Testing? Sound? Good? Hello? Thanks, Drew, for letting me know about the muted mic. I'm gonna move the mic over here as well, just so I have a bit more space to talk. Perfect. Yeah, hey Alice, good to see you in the chat. Po-chan, good to see you as well. Let's see a few other people rolling in. Hey Anne, good to see you, good to hear from you. I think that's a good idea actually, to have a group called the Group Watch. That could be pretty cool. Like maybe you guys could use one of the Jitsi group chats from the community and use that. So yeah, so today we're going to have our first ever live stream, public live stream. I'm really excited. It's gonna be a brand new experience for me as well. Talking about Notion to a wider community, all live, and just really sharing about what's happening this week with our community updates in terms of our Notion innovations and also what's coming up next. So we have a lot lined up for you guys to see. Hey Dana, good to hear from you as well. Welcome, welcome. And oh, and Drew, I think I'm gonna give you mod permissions here. So if you can also help out, look at the chats and just help move the chat along, that'd be awesome. And we're gonna get started at around 5-10 minutes just for some people to roll in, but we'll have some kind of pre-chats. If you have any questions for me right now that you want me to cover, please let me know and I'll add them to the list you see right here. And then hopefully I can get to those questions in time, or if I have time now, I'll even answer them. You can ask me any questions about Notion, ask me any questions about, you know, the cool stuff we're doing here at Co-x3. My favorite color, well, that's yellow is my favorite color, and I also like shades a lot, so white and black have also been my favorite. So maybe that's why you see a lot of the yellow, white, black kind of themes around our templates. And let me also minimize this a bit. Where was I between the hours of 9 and 9:01? I was deep in Lost World. I was apparently streaming to a stream key of nowhere. And essentially it was not telling me that I wasn't actually live. So I had spent a full minute and a half doing an intro and to nobody at all. But I'm glad I'm here now, and glad to be with all of you guys. How many hours of sleep do I average per night? Tonight, 0. That was a bad night tonight. I was up all night putting these updates out, which is why, yeah, I'm so excited. There's so much to share, and hopefully I don't seem too tired, but I will try my best to be as excited as possible for everything I'm about to share. Speaking of which, I should bring those things up, so I'll keep an eye on the chat if you guys have any questions, but I'll be bringing up some of the content out for us today. I had great company. A big shout out to Alice and Alex for sticking around with me and chatting with us and making sure all the content was nice and streamlined to go. Okay, let's hide this now. So again, if you're just joining us now, we are starting in around 7 minutes. We have a full packed agenda today. We're going to be talking about all sorts of things, Notion, and yeah, feel free to bring up your own templates and build together with me. And especially when I go over the specific templates that we just released today, Happy to run over questions you might have while going through and trying to understand the templates for yourself. And of course, please feel free to chat amongst yourselves as well to see if there's other community members that could help you with your question or problem. Can you guys post GIFs in the chat? I'm very curious, or is it just text? It's my first time live streaming on YouTube. I know for Twitch you can do like animated emojis, I think. I'm not sure if you can do the same thing here on live stream, or maybe you need to be like a sub or something. I'm not quite sure about that. You tried. I knew you would try, Alice. I knew you would try. That's pretty funny. It's not a live stream without without emojis and without GIFs for sure. Alright guys, starting in 5 minutes. Leave your questions if you have any for me, but otherwise get your templates ready. We're gonna start off by just a quick brief of what the planning with views was all about. We had a masterclass actually last week, and it was a great one. We had lots of people showing up, and we had a great session. We talked about a lot of things, but essentially the gist of it is that now you have 3 new templates that's gonna help you plan out your day, plan out your week, plan out your month and quarter even, and essentially make sure that you are starting off your execution journey, I'd say, or your success plan better, and then making sure that when you do want to do your reflections, you're surfacing important insights about your life to conduct proper trend analysis, and overall be honest during your quarterly reflection so you can move forward in a more in a better fashion. I'm gonna bring some stuff up. And if you're brand new here, don't worry, we're quite a chill crowd. It's just gonna be a nice build with me session today, just a way to wrap up your Friday evening. Maybe you're at home, maybe you're about to go out. I don't know what you're doing tonight, but hopefully you're doing something fun, and hopefully you can have some time to join us, because this is a fun night too. It's gonna be a fun time. Bring up the pets table as well, and then talk about the new stuff. Easy mode. Cool. You guys hear me okay as well? Is the volume too loud, too soft? Like, how's the stream quality? I just want to make sure before we get too deep into it, everything's all set up and controlled. Give me a thumbs up if everything is good for you in the chat. So glad to hear. Hey, I see a new person in the chat. Hi Tan, I believe that's how you say it. Hi at 2Delta as well. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the thumbs up. I love it. Perfect. Wonderful, wonderful. What time is it for everyone right now? What's all your time zones? I'm really curious about everyone who's joining us. Like, is it your 9 p.m. if you're in Eastern time, or is it your 6 p.m. perhaps if you're in Pacific, like Drew is? What is all your time zones? Two a.m. Oh my gosh. And you're still here watching me. Wow, thank you so much. I really admire your dedication, and hopefully I give you a proper show that matches your dedication. So thank you for joining us so early. I see mostly evening times. That's good to hear. So mostly it's in North America, I believe. That's perfect. Okay, 1 minute to go. I'm going to start switching over my presentation to my screen. Again, let me know if you guys have trouble seeing my screen or there's any blurriness at all. Just give me a shout if there's anything wrong at all. I will be sure to immediately fix it. But it's 9:15 and we're about to get started. So let's switch over and let's make sure my window capture actually captures my page. And I'm going to save this. Oh, welcome from Morocco. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, so getting started. Basically, we have quite a lot of updates that happened this week. Just to summarize really quickly, essentially for our Be Intentional series, we have 3 new core views that has to do with helping you put you into each mindset for founder, manager, and project manager, as well as helping you have proper quarterly reflections and report. And we also threw in a bonus checklist to help you immortalize your projects into best practices, or what we call masters. What you'll see when you navigate to your core views is essentially when you scroll down, you get to a section called Holding Meaningful Reflections, and there are 3 pages in there. They're 3 very simple yet powerful pages. We have a video walkthrough that explains everything. Again, that's from our masterclass, so feel free to watch it when you do have the time. But essentially, I just teach you about how you put yourself into these mindsets, when you should put yourself in a mindset, and the corresponding templates that you're going to have to be touching. Like, for example, the founder would handle the goals and the key results. And if you open each of these pages up, then you would have a detailed dive into how I personally put myself into the state of mind and plan out each of those responsibilities. So feel free to go through that when you have the time. Nothing too technical here, more just information. Now, for the next one, for immortalizing successes into best practices, essentially it's just a simple checklist to help you close off successful projects. I go a lot into depth about it in the video, in the masterclass, so you can watch that. But basically the idea is that because projects are experiments towards the goal and the key results you're trying to achieve, when you have a project that kind of goes above and beyond in terms of exceeding your expectations for your goal or your key results, then you probably want to store that into masters, into best practices, so that whether you want to go back in the future and look at it for another similar project, or if you want to share it with your loved ones, your family, your friends, your community, on how the best way of doing something is based on how it worked for you, then this is the steps that you want to follow so that you can make everything you learn very easily shareable and remember for a long time. Because my biggest frustration, back in the day was, I know I did something really well, but I can't remember how I did it. So this is how we are intentionally avoiding that problem. And the last thing in regards to core views that we've improved and added new templates about is just reflecting at the end. So once you put all your data into Notion, how can you use that information to analyze your personal trends, conduct meaningful analysis, and conduct meaningful daily, weekly, and quarterly reviews? Again, that was covered in our masterclass, and you can kind of mix and match. Basically, our template allows you to, because we keep track of so many different properties about your life, from mistakes you've made to how happy you've been to how effective you've been and how punctual you've been on your success plan. Basically, I've created a view for you to mix and match all this information and really determine what is affecting what in your life. For example, if I choose a hypothesis, I think that my happiness is affected by my punctuality, and similarly, I think my punctuality is affected by my wake up time, how early I wake up or how on time I wake up. And this is how you can essentially kind of put the two information together, and this is included in your Be Intentional templates. So that's enough for this kind of brief. I want to really dive into now our skills and talents progression table, because I think this is an amazing, awesome table. It's an amazing tracker, and again, if you're not familiar with trackers is just the way that I call any table or database that measures your progression towards excellence in a certain area of your life. So for example, the skills and talent tracker is tracking all the skills and talents that you're building up to have better knowledge, and obviously there's sub areas as well that would relate to the specific skills and talents that you're trying to develop. So this was a tracker that was jointly built between me and a Co-x3 community member, Alex Pax, and it's really cool because basically what you can do is intentionally develop your skills and talents by tracking the days you practice them and then meaningfully progress in degree of proficiency. And I'm going to show you exactly how this is built as well. So if you do want to build it yourself, this is a perfect time. Or if you want to understand how the nitty-gritty of it works and then essentially enhance it for yourself, that's also completely what you can do as well. One thing I'm also going to do right now is I'm going to show my side info. So just in case anybody new joins us, they want to know where we're at in terms of our agenda, that's up here. But yes, this is our skills and talents. Essentially, inside your daily quests every day, you'll be able to see your skills practice, and then you can choose the number of skills you are practicing. And right now we have some basic examples for you. For example, learning Japanese, maybe piano, swimming. And then you see that you have proficiencies here. Well, what are proficiencies? Well, essentially, learning any skill takes you 5 steps. First, you have your fundamental awareness, your basic, kind of like a baby. And then you have your limited experience, you're a novice, you're growing up, you're a child now. And then you start putting in practical application, your intermediate level. Then you put in applied theory, your advanced. And then finally, when you become a recognized authority, you are an expert. So we have here automatic formulas that would calculate what kind of proficiency level you're at, whether you're intermediate, novice, or basic. And we also have formulas that help you track, well, what are the days that you've practiced this and what's the range you practice this for. So for example, if you wanted to track exactly how long you've been learning piano for or how long you've been trying to learn Japanese, this database will keep track of it automatically for you, as well as you can keep adding on different things that you need to practice. So a great example here is, let's say you want to learn Japanese and maybe you want to learn directions, or maybe you want to learn how to ask someone about eating out or maybe shopping. So level 1 would maybe be about conversation, and you can mark them complete or not. Are you able to have a conversational are you able to hold a conversation with a native speaker about shopping, eating out, or directions? And then similarly, reading, writing, vocabulary, grammar. But one thing I want you to keep an eye on is this mastery percentage here. If I change this from in progress to complete, this automatically jumps to 60%. If I change this from ready to start to complete, and oh sorry, I believe my thing is kind of blocking that right there. This will change from 70% to 80%. So I'm just going to change that back again. If I, okay, maybe I'll hide this, I'll hide the side info for now. But if I'm essentially changing this number from in progress to complete, I have a formula here, and you can expand it. Again, this is all public, so you can check out for yourself. You can expand this and see exactly what the formula is all about. It looks a bit complicated, don't worry, that's why I built it for you. But essentially, when you change that, you increase in proficiency, mastery level, and here is where it all rolls up. So let's say, for example, I mark everything as complete and I go above 60%. Now I'm an advanced level at learning Japanese. So it's really, really cool. I really want you guys to dive right in. Ask me any questions if you have, because I think this is super meaningful. But basically, you can keep adding new ways of improving your proficiency in every single skill that you have, or talents, if you like to call them that. And then for your columns, you can basically say, well, what does level 1 mean for you? What does level 2 mean for you? Level 3, level 4? And if that doesn't necessarily work for you that same way, maybe you want them to be reversed around. Maybe you rather say, okay, I have, it's not just one kind of stream of, or one kind of genre in the terms of like piano classical, one genre in the learning musical theory, chords, rhythms, like reading music history, but rather I want music theory and then deeper dives into music theory. That's completely up to you as well. The way this is designed is that the columns and the rows are fully interchangeable. You can freely adapt to whatever learning style you prefer, and that's why I think this is a really meaningful database for you to explore. And also, just to give you a understanding of how this might work, so let's say I go into a random date. Let's say I go to June 19th, which was today for you guys actually, and this was yesterday for me because I'm in Singapore time. It's already been a full day. Basically, when you go into skills practice, you can choose what skill you want to practice, and it will say how many skills you practice today. So you can see that this expands very flexible, is that you can keep adding more skills that you want to practice. Maybe you had more time than just learning Japanese. Maybe you had time to swim as well. Maybe you had time to go and learn the piano. And just to show you as well, right now we're at 6% completion for today. The second that we add on a new skill that we practice, for example, piano, we're then able to see that number go up immediately. So skill practice becomes 2, and then now we are at 11%. Very, very cool. And also something to note here is that when you guys do this, let's say you want to learn Japanese, then you can just click right into it. It'll expand the Japanese page for you. You can see what you can practice today, and then you can look, well, which one is the thing you want to practice? What's my current mastery level? Maybe I want to practice how to ask someone for directions today. I click that. And then this is where you can store all your learning information on how you can ask for directions. So basically, we've turned essentially any learning app, whether it be anything from Duolingo to Rosetta Stone, we brought that into Notion for you to enjoy for free. And I think that's something that is very meaningful. And if you have any questions, please ask me anything that you want, because I think this is a very important concept to understand. So yeah, so this is something that I'm very, very proud of, and I'm happy to share with all you today. Yeah, I'll give it like half a second or half a minute for some questions, and see how that would help you guys add in. And Drew, yes, I do live in the future. I am 12 hours ahead of everybody. Cool. And I guess one thing I do want to also let you guys know about this, because again, this is something that I think it's all about intentionality. You can keep relating to areas. So right now what I've done is, for each area that you're working on, and again, for people who are new to the system, areas of competence is essentially, the 69 areas that you want to be remembered for. It's the 69 things that, if maybe just to be a bit morbid, if you died tomorrow, what would people say at your funeral? What were you good at? What were you known for? And what have you been kind of nurturing your whole life. And for my best examples for you, and I'm just going to open this up for everyone to see, for this areas of competence, basically what you'll see, if it ever loads, I'm on a bit of a slower computer today with all the live stream and everything, but basically if I show my areas, okay, so these are the 69 areas that I care about, right? Knowledge, mindset, family, finances. So on top of having the first row explaining what the goals are you're working on in terms of your areas, and the second row being all the sub areas, so your best practices, which is your masters, or your trackers, which are tracking your progress in each of these areas. Then you will also have a third one, which is your skills and your talents. And let me show you how you can add that in. So all you have to do is just press this, you press properties, and then you can find skills and talents, you add that in. And now on the bottom, you'll see that for knowledge, you're also working on piano skills, right? And then for, let's see, what else? For lifestyle, you're working on swimming. For travel, you're working on learning Japanese because you want to learn Japanese to travel. And for Anne's question, yes, you can definitely make as many columns as you want, but I recommend actually going row by row, because the column currently, I have the formula structure at 5. If you guys think that there should be more columns, maybe there's 10 levels per row, do let me know. I think that's pretty cool. But for now, a good workaround would probably be if you have, you know, shopping part 1, shopping part 2, or advanced shopping, or, you know, eating out part 1, eating out part 2. So you can kind of split out, because I do think you should have things in like meaningful chunks as well. Maybe you don't want to have 10 unsurmountable levels for your practice table. You might just want to have 5 levels, so you always feel like you're making quick progress as you go through your practice journey. So that's my opinion for that. Hopefully that helps you, Anne, and gives you a good guidance. Cool. So bringing up the info again, just to bring back the agenda, we're now going to talk about pets. And pets has been a really interesting and exciting part of our roadmap for a long time, and I'm really happy to share our very first version of what the pets are going to look like, and kind of just get a little breakdown of all the work that went into it, and of course, so you understand how it's built, and then hopefully you can also contribute to it in the near future and see where your imagination takes you for this, because again, at our community, we're all about co-creation and collaboration. So I'm gonna hide that side info now, just so that you guys can see more of the screen. I move the chat over here, and I'm gonna show you guys what we've been doing. So if you scroll down on the gamification project, you'll see that we now have a new pet. And oh no, what is this? It's currently not alive. Well, why is that, right? And this is an interesting thing that we want to bring in. This is our first instance of negative reinforcement, so it's definitely a work in it's definitely an experiment, but we've had enough kind of feedback from some of our early testers to give us an opinion that this would be interesting for us to think about. So basically, you can keep your pet alive by completing badges like completing your daily quests. Let's explain what that means. So if you open up your pets, let's say for example, I put one of my cats, Natsu, as the example here. So let's open up Natsu and let's see what Natsu is all about. So Natsu's currently under Schrodinger's pet is dead. Well, let's figure out how we can bring him back to life. Well, the idea is that one of the badges that I have to create that's tagged to this pet is completing daily quests. Let's now open that up and let's see what that's all about. So if we open up complete daily quests, we can understand what this is all about. And it says that we have to earn it by completing yesterday's daily quest over 70%. So right now it's showing us that pets can already be a strong incentive for us to remain positive and motivated during our day. And it's actually very symbolic of a real life pet. And this was designed in mind for people who maybe really love their pets in real life and also want to bring them to their virtual world, or maybe they don't have pets of their own. Maybe their spouse or their loved ones are allergic to cats or allergic to dogs or whatever pet you may enjoy, and you guys want to have a virtual one to keep you company. Essentially, the idea for me about pets is it gives you that boost of motivation to really be productive in your life, right? It's almost like another living being that's relying on you to make sure it's well fed, to make sure it's walked, make sure they have enough play. And you can only take care of something else when you take care of yourself. So a really strong kind of motivation people see in when you do studies is that, especially when you're more in like a lonely or depressive state, when you have a pet with you, you really just get up and do things and get things done. So that's the kind of feeling we want to bring in here today. And our idea was that your daily quests are kind of really pinnacle to you getting things done, right? If you do your morning routines, you best believe that you're gonna start working, you're out of bed, right? And then if you do your midday routines, then you're also going to continue getting stuff done. You're going to eat your lunch, and then if you do your evening routines, you're also going to be able to get things in order. So the idea of this is that if you complete more than 70% of your daily quest, then you can essentially make sure that your cat stays alive or your dog stays alive every single day. So let's see how that works, and I think this is quite interesting. So I'm going to open up our areas of competence to bring up our our daily quests. So it's under mindset, and just so that I can save some bandwidth, I'm going to close some pages. Give me one quick second. Perfect. And we have under here a sub area of daily quests and reflections. Let's open it up, and let's open this up as a main page, and perhaps let's also scroll down and let's open our daily quest. This is a weekly view, and again, all this stuff is blank because this is the master copy for you guys to duplicate. I don't want anything in there to confuse you guys. And also, let's bring up yesterday, not today, and we'll show you how that might work. So if I assume yesterday we've completed 70% of everything that we wanted to do, so let's start clicking. We start clicking, we start finishing things. It's been a very productive day. It's been fantastic. We're at 50% already. We're checking things off. We learned Japanese today. Wonderful. We flossed, we fall asleep naturally, and now we already see we're at 72 without having to push anything else out. Wonderful. So we see that once we hit 72, what happens on this page? Well, let's scroll down a bit. Let's see what's going on. So we have our complete daily quest, and let's see what numbers this is feeding in. So I want to show you how the formula works and make sure that you guys also understand some of the nitty-gritty behind all this, right? Because I think it's important. So right now it's feeding a number called complete daily quest in. Well, where is that coming from? Well, that's coming from gamification tags, where a lot of our calculations are actually taking place. So let's go into there. Actually, let me make it a bit easier, and instead of opening that whole page up, let's go back. And I only want to open up 25-minute task YA. Drew, don't worry, I won't put your names. It'll only be things that are, I won't be that mean to you guys, let's just say that. Yeah, so let's check out the 25-minute task. Let's see what's happening here. I did do a slight patch earlier, so there's a little bit of a modification already, but hopefully there's enough information here to show you guys what this is all about. Okay, cool. So this is rolling up a number for us. This is rolling up over 70% yesterday. So let's go back to daily quest and see what's happening. So what should be happening here is if this is over daily 70% yesterday, so I have a formula here for the badge to check if the wake up time is day subtract now minus 1 day, then I want to show difficulty number, which is currently is showing 1. But I think the thing is right now is because it's not a full day yet for me, I think that I need to change this to 2. And let me just confirm my suspicions. I can't cheat the system. Yeah, if I change it to 2, then it shows. So yeah, just a small thing here because it is not a full day yet. The system is not letting me cheat. So now that that's showing through, basically this roll up now shows that 1 number, and then this formula displays that 1, meaning that now when I show you guys this badge, let's just scroll up a little bit, we see that our badge of completing daily quests has achievement earned, which means when I scroll up here and I look at poor Natsu, Natsu's alive. So this is only the first implementation, right? You can already see there's a lot of guts that went into it that had to range from daily quests to our 25-minute task inside the gamification tags, which then related to over to our badges, which then finally went to our gamification leaderboard to show that our lovely pet is alive, and really thank God. But this is an interesting and fun way for you to kind of motivate yourself to at least complete 70% of your daily quest every day, so that at least you can keep your poor pet alive. But this is just the beginning. Over time, we're gonna start putting in level up parameters. So your pet can also, if you do things for your pet, right, to take care of yourself. And again, I'm just taking your pet as like your personal development. So if you essentially do things for your personal growth, and your pet also feels happy and satisfied because it loves you and it wants you to do well as well, then it levels up. And when it levels up, it will also give you certain perks to help you along your growth journey. And then eventually you can also use gold to buy food and other goodies for your pets. We're also thinking cosmetics, right? Everybody loves to dress up cosmetics. So those are some fun ideas to help boost your motivation to really do the things that are productive in your life, just because you want to make sure that the loved ones in your lives, which in this case is a cute pet, is well taken care of. So that is the idea here. And I'm also going to hide this. So I want to show you something, right? So this is how you can manipulate views. This is something that I do a lot, and hopefully this is something that you guys can learn as well. So basically all the above are humans, right, up here, and we want only pets in the bottom. So what we can do is add a filter here, and then we can say we filtered the name that contains human, or we can just say we filter names that do not contain pets, or no s, just pets. And then immediately that shows a more streamlined view. And we can also do the same thing to change the visual. And again, the visual view does lag a bit. I'm just warning you. Right now it's a limitation of Notion. There's just too much goodness inside our templates. I joke, but there's just a lot of GIFs and formulas and stuff like that. So that's why I have the practical view for you. Unless you have a supercomputer, which, by all means, feel free to show everything you want to show. But for now, you can show up in the traditional kind of level up bar if you don't want to lag too much. And I'm also going to do the same thing here, where I'm going to say does not contain pet. And you can already see I'm dropping frames because I am streaming. And we can see pets, and good. So now we can only show humans up here. And I'm switching back to the practical so I don't lag so much. And just, if you guys have any questions about the pet implementation or any new ideas, then I would love to hear about it. Wow, I love the idea of Pokemon Party. I actually love that. Yeah, so I think that you guys, that would be a great idea. Basically, you can have, one Pokemon to start, right? Your starter. And then eventually, you advance in the regions of your world. Maybe you have projects that represent your regions. And then when you complete certain gym battles, or you Gym battles should probably be your projects actually, and then when you complete like big goals for the quarter, then you change it in the region from like Kanto to Hoenn, and yeah, I think the creativity there could be really really cool. Please do share with the community. I'd love to see it. Yeah. Anybody have any other cool ideas for pets? We've been brainstorming this for a long time, so I think there's so much that could be going into this. Unless I think it'll be funny if you do name, like, I want to see everyone's pet names. I think that'd be really cool. So like, oh, one thing that I didn't share before for the skills table also is that I'm really looking forward to everyone sharing their best practices to learn certain skills. Like if you guys have like a tried and true like 0 to 1, you know, step A, B, C, D all the way to Z of how to build like a really cool skill that you know. And it could be anything silly from like juggling to like spinning a basketball on your finger, or you know, making a trick shot every time, right? Just teach us, right? And you can teach us in a standardized format, right, which we have the templates for, and make it really easy for everyone to just duplicate into their system. I think that would be super cool. If you guys have any kind of really interesting skill that you want to kind of contribute to the community, then that's something that we'd love to welcome. Skill sharing, yeah. Drew, I think that would be super interesting. One avatar for each of your friends and they die if you don't schedule conversations. Yeah, exactly. I do want to add, like, this is just only one example, but basically any badge that you have, right? And let's say you have a badge like Drew does about making sure that you reach out to your friends and your network, you know, every single week or every single day, whatever your time preference is, then you can basically have like a pet, right, or an avatar that represents like how meaningful that is to you. And it's just another reminder of yourself that it's like, again, negative reinforcement, right? You have the positive from all of the gamification benefits, but a negative reinforcement here would be, oh no, you know, I don't want my best friend to die, so I probably should contact him, you know, every week. Something interesting like that. Great idea, Drew. Love it. Cool. So bring up back the agenda again, and I know, by the way guys, I know I look a bit weird because I'm kind of looking to the left of the screen. Usually my webcam is like bottom left. I will figure out how to flip the camera one day, but bear with me for now. But anyway, I'm gonna say that we're done with the walking through the week's updates. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask me in the community. Happy to answer, and I'm sure many other people that do understand the week's updates can also guide you along. But I want to now show you some of the building process behind our upcoming updates. Most importantly, like making it easy mode for gamification project. And I guess to really start into this, it's about understanding like what we want to achieve with an easy mode, right? One thing that has been really just brought up to me, and I guess you guys in the chat can also feedback this for me as well, is right now the template as it is, it's very comprehensive. It does give you like a complete like A to Z of how you might gamify your life, especially in Notion, but it's not necessarily the most easy to learn, especially if you're brand new to Notion, right? Maybe you really want to gamify your life and this is something that you really want to try, but what if you don't know Notion well enough? And of course our user guide is very detailed, but it's not necessarily like giving you a simple implementation if you want one, right? For example, right now if I kind of scroll through what the gamification project offers, it's a lot, right? You can basically theme your workspace to anything that you want to theme it to. You can have your own leaderboard, have your own setup of your family and friends. You know, you can have a pet now as well. You have an item shop, have badges, you know, have party members. There's just so much stuff, and people have been asking for like a easy, like, you know, slow introduction. So I wanted to spend some time, the next 30 minutes, to kind of just draw out how I think that is. I would love your live feedback, and then you guys can even see like how I format like a Notion page. I think that's super cool. So you guys can also tell me what you guys think about that. And yeah, hopefully we'll have a lot of fun and see where we go from there. So My first steps to building this is I would exit out of this page and I would go into my user guide where I currently have the kind of the end-to-end implementation, and just compare what I think could be taken out in terms of making it easier to understand. So let me go and do that right now. I'm going to open my get started here, and because I have an idea of what I want to bring out, I'm also going to open that for ease of time later. And by the way guys, if you think I'm lagging anytime, do let me know. Again, this is a brand new streaming kind of setup for me. If there is any problems with the quality or the fidelity of my voice, do let me know. Happy to make adjustments where necessary. All right, so if we look in the documentation, especially the user boarding documentation, you guys can see that we have your user guide, which has historically been just a big chunk of information teaching you the basics of how to be intentional first, because I think that's important. You won't really get any benefit out of gamifying your life if you don't really understand how to map out your goals and your key results and your projects and tasks. It doesn't matter how motivated you are to do something if you're not really intentional about how you're going to get to the end outcome. So that's just why I have that section there. But of course, if you guys have guys want just a very easy get started, forget everything in terms of being intentional, forget everything in terms of having an item shop and your own avatar, then I think you can have a pretty interesting implementation as well. So I will give you guys a very easy way to just start understanding what gamification do for you, because I think seeing is believing, and I think what Alta Delta said, if you do spend a little time and you do kind of read through the documentation a bit, you understand that it's not too difficult. It's actually very simple, and everything that we do teach you here is focused on helping you understand the theory behind everything, so that even if you weren't using Notion, if you're using any other tool, even a spreadsheet like some of our members had before, it's really easy to use. And Notion is just a tool to help make things better, right? Make things more seamless, make things more visual, and who doesn't like visuals? So now that we've kind of understood what the user guide was supposed to do, let's now talk about a easy guide, right? So let's make a new page and let's call it your easy guide. Maybe that would be a fun name for it. Or yeah, maybe we'll just call it your easy guide. That seems fun. Your easy guide. Yeah, do double quotes. And let's make a smiley for this page. Let's say this is a pretty happy face, and I'm going to explain this a little bit just for people who might want to understand what this is all about. So let's do a quote. A quick and easy guide to understanding the basics of gamification and simple implementations for you to try and eventually upgrade to the full package. Utilize when you upgrade to the full package. So yeah, so it was asked to me why don't I just create a brand new package for easy guide, right? Just split out the packages. One thing that I do want to share is that it's quite difficult for me to handle so many versions at a time, just because right now, for your information, I'm already handling 4 versions. I mean, just the standalone be intentional and gamify your life templates, plus the free version, plus the super package, that's already 4. And now we have the creators toolkit, that's 5. So just today, I haven't even slept yet, right? It's just managing all these templates is quite taxing. So I think even for people that maybe they started easy but now they realize they wanted to go hard, then they realize that everything else has to be deleted. I don't want that experience for you either. So it's just about margin utility for me and then benefits for you. So really happy to think about this way to do it. So without further ado, I guess this is kind of explanation, and the first thing I want to teach is making a weekly quest list. And this is quite interesting, and I'm going to show where I'm going to pull it from. So historically, we've always had a weekly quest list, which I kind of use sporadically. It's not something I use all the time, but it's inside our core views, inside our dailies to be exact. And what the intention of that page was is that it's supposed to help you track anything that is not necessarily a day-to-day activity. It's not a day-to-day habit. What do I mean? Like vacuuming. You don't necessarily do that every day unless you're maybe hosting an Airbnb, or maybe you have pets, or maybe watering your plants. You definitely don't do that every day for some certain plants, or else they'll drown. So like it's certain habits like that you want to track like once, twice, 3, or any custom amount of times during the day, during the week, and it makes sense for that not to be tracked in your daily quest instead. So let me show you where that master table is. I'm going to bring it out into this guide and then show you how that all works. Hey Blue, you didn't miss too much. Feel free to watch through the recording if you have the moments. There was a lot of cool insights in there. Maybe someone else can also fill you in the chat. I don't know, but don't worry, you're kind of just tuning in. You can see the agenda that we're on right now. We are on making it easy mode for the gamification project. Yeah. So let me keep going. So this is the weekly quest I was talking about. You can see that this is the original database. And how do you tell it's the original is by seeing that there is no arrow. So this has an arrow, so that's not the original. This doesn't have an arrow, so that's the original. But what I want to do is I'm going to keep the original here for now because I just want to bring a view over to the other page so that I can have a better way to showcase it. I think the view, I'm going to bring it from, I have a version of that inside the Pokemon theme. So I'm going to just go and bring that up. So under the Pokemon theme, I have that. And let me just load that in. Wow, this my computer is really slow right now. It's making really funny noises too, so that's not a good sign. But yeah, so this is just the Pokemon theme page that I made back in our Build With Me private session, actually, with Veronica and Peter. But basically, it's just an example of what you can do to theme your page. But one thing I just wanted to show was inside this kind of Pokemon Center is where I kind of think about, things I do to repair myself. And the repair on myself is weekly quests. That's one of the examples of repairing myself. And then I'm going to bring out this weekly quest and put it into that new page we just made for your easy guide. The pets are released. Yes, it's very exciting. I'm sorry you missed it. Do watch back. I'm not going to repeat too much right now, but they are released, at least the first version of it. It's really exciting, and we had a lot of sad comments because we've kind of used them in our experiment for negative reinforcements, our poor pets. But yeah, do check it out. It's a really fun experiment for us, and hopefully you enjoy. Okay, cool. So the idea for the weekly quest list is that, and let me just give some documentation here, and hopefully you guys can also help me by sharing what you guys understand about it. But the idea for the weekly quest list is to have a table that will help you keep track of your progress on quests that may not occur daily. And the example, for example, watering plants, doing laundry, and vacuuming may not be things you do on a day-by-day basis. You can, so let's do step one. Step one, add in your own weekly quests that you would like to keep track on. And then, so I'm going to show you how you can also make really cool views just to show you the information that you're looking for. So for example, if I want to show only weekly quests, the name, and I want to also show one more important property which helps you define how many you want to do in a week. So I'm going to show this. I'm going to close all these Mondays to Sundays. And then I'm also going to remove, well, maybe I'll show this as well. So basically what I'm showing you is that you can add in your own weekly quest that you like to keep track on, and maybe I'll also do a sort so that it's, oh, maybe not, like I don't want the sort to kind of bounce up and bounce down. Okay, let's do that. Let's do it. So let's do a sort. I want to do sort times per week. So times per week, I'm going to do a ascending, so from the least amount of time you have to do it to the most amount of time. And I'm also going to do a similar sort down here so that, excuse me, so that we can also show that exact same layout here so we don't get lost. So we also have a times per week, and it's also ascending. Cool. So you can add your own weekly quest that you like to keep track on. And then the second thing you can do here is, make this, let's duplicate this. I press Control D or Command D for Mac users out there. You can duplicate that and then add in the number of times per week you'd like to work on them. And then now in this view, so we have step 3. Now you can check off the days that you have successfully completed that weekly quest, and if you do more than expected, you will get bonus points. So let's show you how that looks. So this is just a very basic version of gamification, and I think it's a good entry point for people who are just saying like, hey, you know, I just want a simple, you know, task manager. How can I make that or simple habit manager? We're going to talk about task manager in a second, but how can I make that gamified? Well, it's easy, right? If you said that you wanted to mop 1 times per week, and just to show you that I'm not, you know, pulling your chain, if I change that to 2, immediately that jumps down there and I need to do 2 more. If I jump to 3, then immediately I need to do 3 more. So it is very dynamic, very easy for you to change. And so my example is, let's say on Sunday I mopped, then I'm all done. But then if I on Tuesday mopped again, then I get bonus points. So I think that's just a really cool, simple, and fun way to do your own gamification. But on top of that, what you can do here is you can also change the name of this. So if you click on this, you can change what you want to call it. So if you don't want to say bonus points, you want to say, you know, something more meaningful to you, you know, all-star, then you can also change that right there, and that will be an easy way for you to also just have some extra motivation as you get through it. Because for me, gamification is all about making it fun, making the work you do as fun as possible. And if you're not up for the full width, right, of gamifying, as in, you know, setting up your avatar and all that, then this is a very basic and easy implementation. Okay, what's next? So the next thing to show is that this is a weekly quest list, and now just also for completion's sake, I'm also going to create a table of contents. So this will show you easily that we have weekly quest list, but also I want to show you how you can make a, so let's do a header, make a task database, or make a task list that earns you gold, right? And for now, you don't need to worry about what the gold does for you, but maybe just the amount, maybe just the gold earning already makes you feel good. Who knows, right? So let's do that. So if you make a task list that earns you gold, so what do we need? Well, let's go and find our task list. So I'm gonna go and into my user guide, and I'm gonna scroll down and bring out this quest list. And again, a really good hack is if you just click on this and then you Control C, right, or Command C again for you Mac users, Command V, and you immediately have the exact same view that we just saw over there right here. So it's really cool. But for the sake of this proper understanding, because I don't want them to think too hard about this, right? This is supposed to be an easy version. So what I'm gonna do is I wanna make this into a table. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to hide a lot of the irrelevant things I don't need to see right now. So I'm going to go properties, and I'm gonna hide everything until I know what I wanna show. So hide. I do want to show the gold rewards, so that's something I want to show. That's also not even, well, let's show impact as well. Let's keep hiding stuff. Punctuality, so I don't want anything other than a task and maybe just the time that you want to do it, so the deadline or the due date. Maybe I just hide that as well. Let's definitely hide tags, we don't need that. Target date, let's keep that. Okay, hopefully that's hidden enough stuff. I'm also going to hide calculations, I'm going to hide area, I'm going to hide these badges. Completed number, difficulty number. Oh my god, finally. So perfect. So now we have a really basic table of just you basically saying, okay, I have a name of my task. I think it's gonna be this kind of impact. I might even hide this if I think that even this is a bit, you know, tough for people to follow. I'm definitely gonna have the status over here, so you can change it from in progress, ready to start, complete, up to you. Probably definitely want to target dates. I'm not gonna take that away from you. And you want a gold reward, so this earns you gold. Okay, so what's gonna be the innovative thing about this? The innovative thing here is that I'm going to assume a lot of information. Here's what I'm gonna assume. I'm gonna assume that everything they put in is a task, and I'm gonna assume that everything that they finish is that things are not complete in here. I'm also gonna assume that everything they put in here is going to be of a same tag, which is going to be the 25-minute task. So I'm going to assume everything they do is going to be 25-minute tasks, and because it's basic, they have no choice. And I'm also going to assume that it's all going to take one chunk of 25 minutes, which is going to be right here in the difficulty number, or not difficulty number, but the difficulty level, and that is going to be 1. No ifs, ands, or buts. So I am going to assume those things about this task. What else do I want to assume? So let me open this up and let me see what else would be interesting for us to assume. Again, I'm assuming things just so that a lot of the information is made less worrisome for the person that's going to be using this. And also, I'm going to do one more thing just to make it super easy. I'm also going to my success plan, and I'm going to add a new project called ad hoc. So everything can be feeding towards ad hoc, and again, another thing that they don't have to worry about in terms of adding this, adding new entries into here. So let me open this up, and I'm going to go into projects. Again, if that ever loads. Are you guys lagging on your side? I just want to double check, make sure that it's not too laggy for you guys. Hopefully things are fine. Okay. I'm going to go into my project manager view, which shows me all the projects. I'm going to add a new project, and again, it will just be a new ad hoc project. I'm going to use a random dice as the name of the project, or as the icon of the project rather. So we're going to call this a dice. Okay, and then just for my completionist sake, I am going to make it a new awesome project. So then I have some things auto-filled here for me to be easily using it. And generally my practice is I don't like ad hoc projects because it means that you're assigning things that really have no end goal. But anyway, for the purposes of this kind of implementation, I'm just showing you why I'm doing this. So on top of this, I'm going to add a filter that says I want all the upstream, okay? I want all the upstream to be the ad hoc project. And I'm going to type ad hoc over here. And look, it's just right at the top. Perfect. Okay, so right now there's nothing in here, right? And let me start explaining what it does, and hopefully you guys will start seeing why I've done this. So step one, let me explain what this is first. Perhaps you need a boost of motivation to complete that quest list, that includes those tasks you have to do, and or maybe you just want to make your to-do list more exciting. This is how. Simply enter in any new task you have in the template below and automatically see a corresponding gold reward. You know what? I'm also going to change I'm also going to give them the number, the difficulty level, just because I think it's interesting to start learning about multiples. So let me bring that back in. So we have the filter or the properties, and then I want to show the difficulty level. Okay, so right now all the user has to do, and again I can remove a few things if you guys think I should, but simply any new task you see a corresponding gold reward. Change the difficulty level to any number to signify how hard this task is to do, or how hard or long completing this task will take. Okay, so basically what happens is when you press new, you can immediately see that it has a gold reward, and you can see that you can start assigning things. So maybe your first thing is only ready to start, right? Let's say example task ABC. I can assign a impact value, so medium perhaps. I could assign a target date. Let's say I want to do it today. And I'm going to assign a difficulty level. Maybe I think it's a 2. So then my gold reward goes up. So this is a very simple and easy way to explain how the task list can start earning you gold and start making sure that you're beautifying this task list and making it easy for you to, I guess, enjoy the benefits of gamification. But the real kicker is the thing that I really enjoy and why I added that ad hoc project. When you do want to graduate, right, to the full gamification project, you don't need to delete anything. You can, because every single task has been related to the ad hoc project. Now you can simply go to your ad hoc projects below and assign the task to a proper project when you have defined the goals, key results project, and define the relevant upstream items. Right, so if I open up this example task ABC, you can see that when I open it up, even without the user inputting it, the upstream is the ad hoc. This is the power of using filters, and something that I'll showcase in my video coming out in roughly around 12 hours is essentially how you can use filters to your advantage to autofill information that you don't need to fill. So for example, if I only wanted this to show statuses that were not empty, right? So, which is probably true, I should probably do that. So I'm gonna add an status. So let's find status is not empty. What will happen is every time I press new, it will default to backlog, which is really good because it gives me something as well, right? And then maybe I'll do the same thing for like impacts and target dates, just so that the user doesn't have to worry about inputting those kind of information. And let's go that. Let's talk about impact is not empty as well. Impact is not empty. And let's say add a filter. Target date is not empty. And then difficulty level, maybe it's not empty either. And then we are there. Okay, so basically whenever I add a new task, everything will be auto-filled, and then I can just change things when I need to. So again, just making it really easy for the user to come in and eventually graduate from this into the main project. Is there anything else that you guys think I should add for this easy template, or do you think that's good enough? Like basically I've taught you how you can make like weekly habits gamified, right? It's not going to earn you any points, but it's going to give you a nice little comfortable boost in motivation. And of course, if you're someone like Alice, you might enjoy the rare occasional insult as well, to be fed in there if you don't do something. That's quite interesting to think about. But yeah, that's what the habit tracker can do. And also the task list can earn you gold and eventually experience once they assign it to the character that they care about. Yeah. Ooh, okay. The first priority, second priority, third priority, huh? Okay. I'll probably release that update in the coming weeks because I'm still testing it out myself. I just for some context of what Drew's talking about is I recently added a new implementation to my quest list that essentially helps me prioritize them. And of course, I'm happy to kind of walk you guys through that quickly if that is meaningful for you all. Let me see if I can bring up a example workspace that has some demo data just to show you guys. Give me one quick second. And I do still want to show you the loot box mechanic, so that's gonna be super interesting. Do stay tuned for that, and hopefully we'll get it all wrapped up in the next 5-10 minutes. I've been really excited talking about this stuff with you guys. I had a lot of fun. Player 1, let's talk about, oh, this is the wrong page. Going to open a new page from here, so new window, and then I'm going to open up my player 1. Bear with me guys, I wasn't prepared to show this specific setup, but since Drew kindly asked, I will show it just so that you guys can see what it's all about. And then yes, I think that's really good. Like, I think start with what you can do, and then you eventually take it on, and just know that the things that you build while working on the small little things is not going to waste. I think that's just the main important thing. I don't want you to ever worry that, oh, because I'm not graduating to that implementation yet, I'm wasting everything and those kind of things. So yeah, so do let me showcase this. So I have a saved version of this success plan, so let me show you what that looks like, and then I'm going to also hide this for now so you guys don't have to see all the things I'm doing here. Let me put this into blocked for now. Okay, let me show my screen now. Hopefully you guys can see. Let me know when you guys see my success plan instead of this page. I'll give it a few seconds for it to load. Right, so I have a cached version of my own success plan, just to show an example of it, is that I essentially, and you guys can do this for yourself just to test it out, but I essentially just made a new column for first priority, third priority, fourth priority, fifth priority, sixth priority. And essentially it depends on your own kind of what I call plate limit, like how much can you get done without overloading yourself. For me, I found that 6 is my magic number. 6 projects a week, too much, I will lose focus, I'll lose control. And I realized recently it's also 6 tasks as well. If I have 6 tasks, doesn't matter how deep the tasks are, like how long it takes, but it's more about like the different things I have to do per day. I can't really focus on more than 6 things, so I try to put out my 6 highest priorities, and if there's anything extra that I can do, it's a bonus quest. So that's how I kind of think about it, and every night when I plan out my next day, I'm also just ordering my top 6, and if during the day that my top 6 does change, I kind of try to understand why. And a really interesting thing that I do here is that I have certain filters that kind of already help me, or sorry, not filters, but sorts that help me prioritize it without me having to worry too much about it. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so if I deleted all these things, and it'll be fine because I'm just showing you, I already see a certain ranking here. I'm currently sorting by what's the highest impact versus and the highest due date that's going to happen. And the due date for me is just a renaming of the target date. It's the day I'm going to do things. So for this, it was like on the 18th. And I'm already structuring things relevant to the Eisenhower method, which is essentially saying like what is important and urgent are the things that you should do. So the urgent things and the important things are the top of my list. Therefore, I should make them my highest priority. So I make this my first priority. Then I make this my second priority. So you see that I'm not baselessly changing my priority thing. It's because I have sorts that automatically sort my work in terms of, the highest impact, lowest effort, and, most urgent things. That sorts at the top, and therefore I already know that made that first priority. I don't really have to think that too much. The priority for me is just to manually move things up. Let's say that I determined that I want to do analytics more important than everything else. I move it up. This pops up before, even though it's a low impact versus everything else is a high impact, just as an example. So That's just some way that I use it. Thanks, Drew, for asking me to share it. I do think it's very meaningful, so I think it's a good share. So thanks, Drew, for bringing it up. And you'll be able to see this in your Notion spaces, in your templates, probably in around 2 weeks, once I've tested it all out, because I like to be my own guinea pig first, so you guys don't have to struggle through bad quality. You guys always have the best and things that work for me personally. I'm just going to talk about some final quick points about what we're doing on the loot box. So hopefully you guys can kind of understand where we're coming from for that, and then hopefully even give us some insights on where we can go from there. So let me just share my other window again. So we're gonna bring up my other window, and your easy guide is here. And yeah, so to wrap up the last 5 minutes of the stream, and thank you again for being so engaged, really appreciate it. And again, I had a lot of fun. Basically, if I go into, let's just say, our habits, so let's go into our dailies, and let's go into, and let's close everything else because I don't need it right now. Let's go into our daily quests. Okay, so basically the problem statement here was, and this is something that not just occurs to one person, not even 3 people, but a lot of people in our community have asked about this, and we kind of, and the thing was, at the end of the day, you're really tired. How do you get yourself to go and fill out your reflections? How do you get yourself to go and reflect about your day when all you want to do is just crawl into bed and fall asleep? Well, one way that we've kind of combated this already is doing our daily accountability party, which is just every day we have a call. It's at 9 a.m. Eastern, but for me it's 9 p.m. so it's my evening. But basically it's like kind of like a warm up and a wind down for many people, like a wind up, wind down kind of session for you to be accountable and say, hey, this is the time I'm going to use to reflect about my day, whether it be in the morning or the night, and just make sure I get things done. But another really fun way that I wanted to bring gamification in was that, well, what if when you finish your reflections, when your reflections was marked as complete, what if that automatically generated a loot box for you based on how many check marks have you made in terms of your daily quests? How many daily habits have you completed? Let's say you completed 70% or 80%, gives you a better chance to get a better loot from the loot box. And the loot box is something that you define by yourself. So what we've created is we've created a database for yourself to choose, right? And I'm not going to show right now because I don't think we have enough time, but we have a loot box where you can basically rank all the different rewards that you might want, and you can rank all of them in terms of rarity, right? The things that are really high value to you, make them rare, and it's harder for you to get those. The things that you're gonna be pretty satisfied with, if you get, then they become less rare. And essentially what happens is when you finish your daily reflection and then the database checks that, hey, you've completed 76% of your progress today, therefore you have a little bit more bonus chance of getting that loot, and then it will in the background do a randomizer based on the timestamp of when you finished it and based on the multiplier of how many daily quests you've done, and award you a relevant loot box. So at the end of the day, you can kind of be happy and get a little bonus that's kind of randomized and not necessarily something you controlled. So if you have any questions about that, happy to answer, but that's just a very interesting implementation that we came up with very recently, and that's coming out again in around 2 weeks. And we'll be slowly introducing something we call our expert players, kind of give you guys like a head start into looking at those things, and basically you're essentially helping build what we're about to everything that's about to be launched, and really happy to share with you guys. If you guys want to be one of these expert users and want to have the early access, just let us know, and we'll be happy to get you on the list. Yeah. Hey Tomorrow, happy to have you. You came right at the right time. Loot boxes, I think that's right up your alley, and I'd love to show you all the different formulas that went in to just make sure that, you know, they all make sense in every gamer's mind. All right, cool. It's about 10:30. Thank you so much, guys, for being so engaged. I'm just checking the stats now. It seems like we've kind of been hovering around, you know, 10, 12 viewers. Really happy about this first live stream. Really excited that you guys are all so engaged with us and joined us on this call. So thank you again for being here with us today. Yeah, if you have any more questions, feel free to drop in on the discussion. We have a little link in the description below in terms of where you can find a discussion for this specific Build With Me number 2. And if you want us to do more Build With Us, please hit that like button, subscribe, let me know how you thought about it. Let me know if you liked it, if you want me to do more, and please let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much again for joining us. I will go get some sleep. Thank you guys for caring about me, and hopefully for you guys joining us at 3 a.m., 2 a.m., 4 a.m. All you friends, please get some sleep yourself as well. Thank you so much. Please take care.